I used to look at people like me who were walking through the casino at 7 in the morning looking all rested and looking like not super depressed. Like, who are these people? How do they do these things? I just didn't get it. Because I'd be like still out. I'd be pretty drunk. I wouldn't know it at the time, but I'd be pretty depressed. Like, why am I doing this? I wouldn't know that. That'd be all in my subconscious. Yeah, so I used to look at people like who I am now. So they're probably looking at me that way right now. Like, who? What the hell? Weirdo. Kind of. How do they do that? Why would they do that? I'm having a good life here. I'm drunk at 7 in the morning. Anyway, let's get away from Depressionville. Man, since I've been doing what I'm doing, I love being outside. I love being in the sun, which I haven't in decades. Even playing the World Series of Poker yesterday, every break, I'd go for a walk. Again, like, this is so funny. Like, all the things I didn't used to be, I am now. Last year, on every break, I'd run out for my cigarette, or 3. This year, on the first break, I went and bought some sort of Jambo juice thing with blueberries and strawberries and stuff, really delicious. A banana, and like some sort of bar with fruit and nuts. And it was delicious. And it felt so good to eat it. I don't know what's going on with me. But still in Vegas, obviously. I'm out of the first tournament. First tournament was $1,500 Monster Stack tournament. And first 2 hours I played excellent. I didn't make any mistakes that I'm aware of. A couple guys tried to bluff me out of a pot that I thought they didn't have it, and they didn't, and I got the showdown. So I actually increased my stack by about 50%. So the starting stack was 15. I was up to like 22,000. Then I lost a couple of small pots. It just didn't hit, and then I had king in mid position. No one was in. Everyone had folded. I raised. The guy on the button re-raises. Everyone else folds. The blinds fold. I re-raise, and he goes all in. So I'm looking at queens, kings, or aces, basically. Maybe ace king, but probably not. Especially because this guy kind of had him as being a little bit tight. Not the kind of guy who was going to like bet his whole tournament on a coin flip at that early stage. I looked at him for a while. I asked him if he had aces. He said, probably. Not that I was going to go on what he said, like as though if he said yes, he did have aces. But I looked at him for a good 2 minutes, thought about it, and laid down kings. He showed aces, and he said, "You laid down kings?" I said, "Yep." I said, "Nice fold." So that's the kind of what I normally do. Some local people live on the street here. A lot of them, unfortunately. Yeah, so I actually lost a fair amount of my stack on that because we were re-raising a lot each time. And so I was down to like, I was well under the starting stack, like, or right around the starting stack again, like 14, 13,000, maybe 12,000, something like that. Then I was in the small blind, and if you're not into poker, just fast forward for 2 minutes. Should have said this earlier, but if you're into poker, you'll like this. I was in the small blind. A tight guy raises from early position, gets a call, the button calls. So I have 2 options, call or re-raise with my 9s in the small blind. In retrospect, the re-raise would have been better, but my take was the tight guy who raised initially had a really big hand, and I was worried if I re-raised, he was going to re-raise and put me all in with 9s against probably 10s and higher. So I just wanted to see a flop. So I call, flop comes 9-2-3, dream flop, 2 diamonds. So I check, assuming that the pre-flop raiser is going to bet. He doesn't bet, no one bets. It goes to the turn, which is a diamond. The fact that no one bet, because the other guys in the hand were kind of aggressive, I figured they'd at least bet their flush draw. Especially the guy on the button, because he knew that no one had anything too big, so he could have won the pot right there by betting with his flush draw, and he didn't. And this is what screwed me up. So the turn comes with another diamond. I'm like, okay, I don't think anyone's got diamonds here. And definitely the button doesn't have it. So I bet. Everyone folds but the button, and he just calls. So I'm like, okay, maybe he's got like the ace of diamonds, and he's seeing if he can hit his flush, or maybe he's just got like, you know, what, top pair, or something, maybe 2 pair or something, anything, but a flush. So the river comes and blank, and I bet about 6,000, which I forget. This is one error on my part. I think I bet too much, but I was trying to make it look like I was bluffing, because I wanted a call, because I thought I was good. And he just calls with 10 jack of diamonds, so he had it. At that point, I'm down to like 4,000 or 3,000 chips, like almost nothing. So next hand, good hand I get, I go all in. It was a pair of 5s, get called by ace jack, and he hits a jack. I'm out. So that's the way poker rolls. All in all, you know, that's just poker tournaments. You're gonna have that happen all the time. No one ever, you know, I think your average pro in a tournament only makes it into the money like 30% of the time or something like that, or even less sometimes, 20%. So it's, you know, you're basically, you need a bit of luck, and I didn't have any yesterday, which is actually very common at the World Series. Every time I've ever played the World Series, I've never gotten anything going, not anything. Like, I've never even had hands at the World Series. I don't think I've ever had aces at the World Series. And I played in numerous of them. I remember one I played for like 6 hours and didn't have one playable hand. It's like almost crazy how bad my luck's been so far at the World Series. But whatever, it's not a big deal, it's good. I'm enjoying being, you know, just getting out and doing the competition. I did not feel in any way out of my league with the people I was playing with yesterday. If anything, I had reads on a lot of them that were good. So that was good. Good first start. As I was saying before, you really need to practice this stuff anyway, so it was a good practice for me. And so I'm into a tournament today. $1,500 tournament again. A knockout tournament. So you win chips when you knock someone out. And so we'll see how that goes. And if I don't win in today's, I'm going to play one more tomorrow. And if I don't win that, it'll be sort of 3 strikes, you're out. And I'll head back home. And actually, I kind of want to head back home fairly soon, because I've stuck to my routine on everything except for one thing, and that's diet. And that's because it's so hard in the US, especially Vegas. Not a lot of really super healthy eating options here. And being on the road, you know, kind of sitting in the hotel room at night all by myself for hours and hours. Kind of like, let's have something that's kind of like greasy or something, make ourselves feel good. So I had like a vegetarian pizza last night, so I ate some cheese, so some dairy. I won't eat meat for numerous reasons, but I will let myself every now and then have a little bit of dairy. I'm actually not feeling too bad today, so I actually thought I'd feel like garbage this morning because it was really greasy. But I hit the gym yesterday and everything, so I think it's one of those things, if you keep most of your stuff on point, you can get away with a few bad diet decisions. A little bit, to some extent. So, I haven't got to do what I want to talk about yet today. I just noticed there's a strip club here. Gentlemen's Club, Striptease Gentlemen's Club. I actually find that of interest because I'm doing this rap video about Bitcoin, and I have this part where I talk about basically strippers So it would be kind of cool if I went in one of these and just filmed it real quick, if you're allowed. Usually very strict on rules here in the land of the free. Looks like this place is closed. Not a very big one, obviously. Anyway, so I wanted to talk today about being conscious of yourself. Because most people aren't, including myself until recently, and I'm still not. I'm still discovering stuff about myself almost every day that I didn't realize I was doing. And you'd think this would be something that would be one of the most important things that, if our cult, our culture, if society, if the government, if the system really wanted the best for people, it would kind of be like, yeah, one of the things you should do is try to discover who you are, what you're doing. Most people just are unconsciously doing most things. So, in a real decent world, if there was schools, one of the things they'd be teaching you is, all right, let's think about who we are today, what we do, and why we do it. But no, they're not going to teach you that in the government school or any private school even, probably. Let's just talk about BS and memorize useless information and make you hate learning. Busy. I think I got started way later today. I think it's like 7:30 or something right now. What a difference in traffic and heat. But it feels all good. I love being in the sun now. So it's got to be well over 100 right now, probably 110-ish. Which I think, I don't know, in Fahrenheit, in Celsius, I think 43, something like that. But I feel fine. Sun's a bit bright, but I don't wear sunglasses because I hear that you really need, well, we need the sun, that's obvious, but you really need your eyes, your corneas to have access to the sun. It really affects your mood, it affects your sleeping patterns and everything. So when you put on sunglasses, see, again, society and the cult tells us all the wrong stuff. They tell you in the sun, well, you can't go in the sun, it's bad for you. See, everything's the opposite. Everything. Don't listen to anything. And they'll say, if you go in the sun, make sure you cover up so you don't get access, because the sun actually makes your body create vitamin D. It's incredibly healthy. You actually need it. You see these people who haven't seen the sun in a while, they're looking rough. Their skin they look dead, basically. So in our cult, they say, oh, don't go in the sun, cover yourself up. If you do have to go in the sun, cover your skin, which is your largest organ in your body, with these dangerous chemicals, which really poisons you. That's a lot of this detox stuff. That stuff all stays in you. Not all of it, but a lot of it, whatever your body can't get out. And because of people's diet nowadays, most people aren't detoxing, so they're storing all that in their fat. So most people are just massively toxic. And they just have no idea. They might even think they're healthy, but they're not. And that's why the detox is so important. Hope you can hear me okay. It's kind of windy. But tons of cars too. I'm gonna try to bust into a parking lot or something. No shortage of parking lots here. So anyway, talking about becoming conscious of of yourself. Man, I was so unconscious of it. Just like everyone, I thought I was. I thought I knew who I was or whatever. No. So, I'm trying to think of some examples of when I wasn't conscious. Well, one was when someone told me I was depressed. It was Sasha Dagan. Actually, I saw this TV show. It was actually, I'm originally from Canada. I used to watch a sports channel there called TSN, and there's a guy on there called Michael Landsberg, and he always seems very positive in his shows, very charismatic sort of guy. But he did a whole thing, show on the sports channel, so totally out of, it wasn't normal, about how he was dealing with depression his whole life. And I don't know, it's just like one of those things, whenever you're ready to hear, like this is totally true. Whenever you're ready, the information comes to you. And this is back like a year ago, and I was searching, like, what is wrong with me? I'm not happy at all. I don't know what's wrong. Trying all these things, all these psychedelics, trying different things. And I came across that show. And I like sports, and a lot of it was about hockey, and he actually interviewed some hockey players who said they were dealing with depression. And I watched the show. I was like, man, everything they said, that's exactly how I feel. And at the end of it, I'm like, am I depressed? I didn't even know. I had no idea. Like, I wasn't even aware that was something. Yeah, very unaware. I'm gonna try to go in this area. Anyway, so right after that, I was talking to Sasha Day Game, and we were just talking about something, and I said, I think I'm depressed. And he said, no shit. And I was like, what? What do you mean? He's like, well, every time I talk to you, you say you don't want to live anymore. And I was like, yeah, but isn't everyone like that? See, it's just unconscious of what's going on. And he's like, no. And I was like, oh. And I looked into it. Then I tried everything that people said fixes depression. In the end, it really turned out to be diet was a huge part. So the fasting and the changing of the diet to the mucusless diet seems to have fixed it. I don't really have the depression anymore. The only time I have depression now is if I drink, and I don't drink anymore. So now it's like I'll have moments where I don't feel really happy, but it's totally manageable. Like, I think that's how your average person is who doesn't have depression. They just have those times where it's like, it's not the best day. Maybe feel a little sad, but nothing like how I felt before. So as I'm going through this process, you do some more meditation. Meditation is really important in my opinion. And again, so many people try to keep you away from it. Our society in general, no one talks about this. Just go to the sports game, drink your beer, pay your mortgage, pay your taxes. That's what they talk about. Support the troops. No one tells you, go sit by yourself every day for 20 minutes and just don't think, and just see what happens. And as you do that, you get, thoughts do come to you, but not from your mind. They come sort of from the universe. You start to become more aware, more conscious by doing it. So this is all the stuff that if our cult really cared about people, the schools would have meditation, right? They'd also have probably exercise first thing in the morning. So important. That's what I'm doing, right? Everything that is good, that would actually help people, they don't do it. They do the opposite. They want you to be sick. They want you to be in debt. They want you to be unhappy and always searching for some sort of material thing to make you happy. This is basically the scam that I've figured out. Because I don't need anything material to make me happy anymore. Because of now I have this new understanding. Oh man, my mouth is dry. It's dry out, and I think I didn't drink much water or apple juice last night after eating that pizza, so I think I'm really dehydrated. So I'm trying to get through this video, but man, my mouth is as dry as can be. Still love the weather though. I just wish I had some water. So people just aren't conscious. So it seems like almost every day I realize there's something I do that I wasn't aware that I was doing. So most people, I think, go through life pretty unconscious of what they're actually doing. So in many ways, we're kind of programmed. So if you look back on my life, after my internet company, I did what I thought was the dream. Like, what I got fooled. I got totally fooled. Because, you know, it's on TV all the time. It's on the rap videos. Yeah, the thing to do is to be in these clubs and drinking and getting all the girls. I wasn't that into all the nice cars and stuff, but, you know, get the material items. I wasn't even into the material items, but I fell for the drinking, bars, discos, get, you know, buy a big bottle, get all the girls at your table. I fell for it, totally fell for it, and for way too long. Oh man. But I wasn't aware. I wasn't conscious of. Yeah, I was just basically doing what the machine wanted. And I thought I was living the free life, the good life, right? Because I had enough money that I didn't really need to work for anyone. And I was traveling the world. Most people I met would always go, "You live the dream life." And it really wasn't. They think it's the dream life too, that's the thing. It's not. The dream life has a lot more to do with love, peace, general happiness, nature, health, spirituality. That's the dream life. But I totally fell for it, and so yeah, you're just not aware, and you're not aware of what the programming is, and that's what I've started to realize is once you start to get rid of the programming, it's really good, and the more you do, the more you realize how programmed you are, and how you don't realize who you are and what you've been doing all this time. It's almost like you've been in this fog. Like I even had someone say a couple months ago, they said, "I think you're OCD or something." And I kind of laughed because I'm like, oh, like those people are crazy or something, right? I didn't even really know what it was, but that was my assumption. Those people, oh, they're the people who do the light switch like 100 times before they leave their house. I'm not like that. But then I started to realize all these little things I was doing. I became conscious of them. Like, if you ever look at a desk that I have, everything's lined up perfectly, like to angles. And if there's a piece of paper on that desk and it's kind of like crooked to where the desk is, I don't have to, like I'm not super obsessive OCD, but I prefer if it was more lined up with the desk, right? But I didn't even realize I was doing that stuff. And that's what I think the system wants, that no one ever really becomes conscious of what they're doing. They just want you doing your stuff and basically following the program. So, yeah, almost every day I realize something. It's sometimes just little things, but it's like, yeah, I didn't even realize I was doing that. Or I didn't realize, you just do it. It's not like you're almost like a robot. And you look at a lot of people, especially here in Las Vegas, like these are like completely unconscious robots. Like they don't seem conscious at all. Now I haven't talked to all of them, I'm sure there's some that are, but by the actions of a lot that I see, seems like they're just following the program, not really thinking about what they're doing. So now you meet some people sometimes and you know they've got some issues and probably no one ever tells them. I think we should try maybe. I could be wrong on this, but when you see someone who's doing something, it's kind of like, do they even know they're doing that? Like, do they even know that is kind of like, sort of like the unconscious behavior they're doing that maybe they should know about? Now, this gets a little weird because, but I don't know. I'm asking the question, is it good to help people to become more conscious of what they're doing? I know that most people, if you do, like for example, if you say to someone, I've noticed your, whatever it is, let's just say, it seems like you got a nervous sort of thing where you're always touching your face or something. And if you want to point it out to them so they can become aware of it, so maybe they can at least be aware of it, so if they want to change it, they can. Most people will react quite negatively, right? They will take it as an attack. And that's, Matrix people, like they're programmed. And I was one of them to a large extent, not completely, but a large extent. But I always appreciated when people would tell me stuff I was doing. I was always, it's actually kind of nice here without too much wind. Maybe I'm going to hang around here for a bit. I always appreciated when people would say, hey, did you ever notice you're doing that? A lot of people get angry and I'd be like, oh, yeah, thanks for telling me. I didn't even realize, no. But a lot of people will take it as an offense. And when I have told people stuff, just sort of pointing out things to them, trying to help them. Here's how you do it without offending people. I've done this so many times. Find a way to say it happened to you, even if it didn't, but find a way. So for example, let's say somebody's always doing some sort of repetitive behavior that's probably not good for them, and they're not even probably aware of it. Even if you don't do the same thing, try to find a way to point yourself out first. And I wouldn't do this with strangers too much, because it'd be better if it's, well, I don't know. I'm just thinking out loud here, how to help other people. But what I've done in the past when I want to try to tell someone, for example, I had a friend and he was drinking too much. He was going through a divorce. He was way older than me, and he was working with us. And he used to tell the worst stories we had all these internet kids working with us. And these kids are like, go, go, go. And he's from a different generation where it was way slower. So we'd be at the bar and everyone would tell a story, right? Little internet kid tell a story, everyone would laugh. I'd tell a story, people would laugh. Then he'd go, oh, listen to us. And he'd go on for like 20 minutes and he'd never get to the point of the story, he'd just ramble. And I could just see everyone else just dying, like, when's he gonna finish the story? I took him to the side one day and I told him, I said, hey, this totally is not your fault at all. In fact, it's their fault. You see, don't put the blame on them, because they'll get self-defensive. The kids nowadays, they got ADD. I learned this myself. I have to tell my stories a lot faster. See what I just did there? I put it all on me, so they don't get defensive. Anytime you try to point out to someone to try to help them, a lot of times they'll get really defensive. So you got to say, man, I can't even hang out with these kids. Like, their minds are going so fast. If it takes you longer than 1 minute to tell a story, they're just not even going to hear you. I had to just get to the point real quick, or they just won't get it. So if you ever talk to those kids, you want to tell a story, make it quick. Find a way to make it quick, or else they're not even gonna. They're gonna get so. You're just gonna lose them. And I remember I told him that in that way, and because I told him that in that way, he actually changed. And all the kids loved him after that, because all his stories were pretty good. They're a lot better than they were before. It was like a minute or 2 or 3, but not 20. And I don't think he ever thanked me for it or whatever. I'm not looking for thanks, but he did change, and it helped his life a little bit, right? And that's all you really want to do, is try to help everyone kind of get better at whatever it is. But most people just aren't aware of what they're doing, and many people are so unconscious that you really have to tell them, and you have to tell them in such a way that they won't want to kill you. That's basically what we're dealing with. Or you could just not help them and let them, they'll eventually figure out some stuff, probably. That's the question, I think, a lot of the time, is how much do you really want to help people? Because a lot of people just kind of have to have things keep going wrong to the point where they hit the bottom before they will change. That's sort of like me. Alcohol was definitely not helping me at all. It was hurting me in many ways. But if you told me, and many people did, you shouldn't drink so much, over the years, I wasn't hearing it. I was like, no, I'm okay. I'm all right. So there wasn't much anyone could have told me. In fact, life told me in many ways. It was not improving my life. It was making me feel like crap. It was draining my bank account every day. Not that it became a money problem. That's the thing too. Like, when you have more money, these issues can get even worse, right? Because if I didn't have much money, it would have stopped a lot quicker, because it's like, oh, I can't go to the bar. But I had to find out for myself. So that's the question. Maybe put in the comments below if you know the answer. Should we even try to help other people? But one thing we should definitely do is try to help ourselves. And that gets back to my point of trying to find out ways to become more conscious of what you're doing, because you're not aware of most of the things you're doing, including myself. See what I just did? I put it on myself, so now you feel a little better. But I actually mean it. Like I'm actually going through finding all these things I've been doing, and man, looking back, I thought I was doing everything okay. I wasn't. I hurt a lot of people, mostly girls, my girlfriends. But I just didn't know what I was doing. And I was like sort of programmed. And not just programmed by society, too, programmed also by your own biology, your own genes. You know, that sex drive, procreation, all that kind of stuff. But the more that you can kind of understand it and deal with it, and not so much get control of it, but at least be conscious of what you're doing, the better. So, gonna play poker today. But man, what a different poker game it was for me too. Just being more relaxed. Definitely mentally more there than I have been in any past poker game in the last 20 years. Like, I pretty much had reads on everyone pretty quick. Like, I was very comfortable at that table. The only thing I didn't like was some internet kid came in late and sat right to my left, which I knew that was going to be an issue, because I'm usually the guy stealing, and that's what the internet kids do. And so even if I raise, he's just going to re-raise, even if he doesn't have that great a hand. So I'm going to get into these big pots, sometimes with not big hands. But I didn't actually get into that, but I really felt very comfortable. So hopefully today, I get some like hands I can play. Hopefully I can get a stack going, because I know from the past, playing past tournaments, not the World Series, that when I get a stack, that's when my game happens, because then I can make some plays that are like super crazy to most people, because I have the opportunity, because I have the chips. So like I could know the guy has aces, and the board could come like, I don't know, 10-3-2, and as long as there's a flush or a straight draw potential out there, and if I know the guy is capable of folding aces, and if I have a big enough stack, I can find a way to get him off the hand. So, but I can't do that at all when you've got like this many chips. It's like all in, and he's like, call, I got aces. But you know, when you have more chips, you can pressure, and that's my game. So I've yet to have a stack at the World Series. So wish me luck. Hopefully today. If not today, hopefully tomorrow. If not tomorrow, it'll have to be either next year, or we'll see how it goes, because Freedom Fest is on July 18th or 19th, and the $10,000 main event starts on July 9th, I believe. So we'll see how I feel. We'll see. But it is a possibility I'll come back early for Freedom Fest and play the main event. But it'll depend on how this goes. It'll depend on how I'm feeling. It'll depend on a lot of different things. But I might come back for that. And if not, it'll have to be next year. Although I do plan on playing a few poker tournaments that are pretty big, not the World Series, around the world this year. I'm so excited to have my new life that like the whole world's like an oyster now. It's so much better. So I got invited by Press TV out of the blue, Iranian propaganda channel, to come to Iran and be on their show live, which I think would be so cool. And I had never been to Iran, and I got to see it before the US bombs it, and it's going to be soon. Like, I think maybe before September. So if I'm going to go, I got to go ASAP. And of course, if they bomb it while I'm there, that'd be, you know, of course it sucks if they do it. Obviously, it's a heinous terrorist attack, but it'd be pretty cool to be there when it happened. Unless it dropped right on my head, of course. But if it dropped right on my head, I probably wouldn't feel it. So either way, so that's the whole no fear thing. You know, a lot of people would be like, oh, they're going to bomb there soon. It's like, let's go. You know, that's how you live interesting life. Man, when you get yourself into some interesting situations like that, that's when you have the most interesting experiences of your life. Anyway, I'm not going there because I want to get bombed. But now that I can not drink and travel, I'm going to be doing a lot more traveling. And so I'll probably play some poker tournaments, maybe in Europe, maybe in Asia. I haven't been in Asia in a while. I'd like to play one in like Macau or something. So yeah, I'm kind of excited about it all. And along the way, just becoming more and more conscious of what I'm doing. And there's lots more I got to learn. So if you ever notice I'm doing something, just point it out. I get tons of trolls on YouTube, but most people watching my channel are actually kind of decent, nice people who are actually watching it because for whatever reason they like the content. So if you ever notice I'm doing something and you think I'm not aware of it, point it out. I want to know. I want to become more conscious of what I'm doing and just keep improving that way. And I think everyone should do that. So one of the main ways, if you're watching this, is to get into meditation. That'll start you got to turn off that mind. The mind is sort of like, that's what's been pre-programmed for whatever reason by the matrix, by the machine. And you got to turn it off for a while. And that's why they'll always tell you in the media, meditation, even religious people, Christians, all that, they hear from the church will say, I don't remember anything in the Bible saying you shouldn't sit down and relax and not think too hard from time to time. But it seems to be this thing coming out from a lot of churches now, meditation's evil. That's because they don't want you to become aware, because then you will go, why are we going to this building every week and give them all our money and they say they're giving us God? Why don't we just talk to God directly? Get rid of this middleman. They don't. So that's, you know, everything's sort of a scam. Churches are one of the biggest scams. The Roman Catholic Church is one of the biggest scams in the world. It's basically satanic. People don't realize it because they're not consciously aware. So get more consciously aware. And like I said, by doing things like meditation, even psychedelics, I'm not totally recommending them for everyone. But if you feel you might, if it feels right to you, then consider it. You know, there's good and bad to everything. To me, the psychedelics help me. I don't feel the need to do a lot of it right now. I feel like I'm on the right path at the moment. And plus, it's almost always torturous for me. So a lot of people seem to have these experiences where wonderful, and they go and they talk to fantastic beings, and I just get like crushed for like 8 hours. So I don't want to do it for that reason either. It's not that easy. But yeah, looking at things like meditation, psychedelics, ayahuasca, mushrooms, DMT, stuff like that. But really the meditation, just get outside of your zone and just turn off the mind for a bit, and you'll be amazed at what you find out. So I'm gonna hit the gym before the journey, and I'll probably be back tomorrow.